Even Chris Froome had no response to Alberto Contador today. For the last couple of years, he's looked a shadow of himself, but Contador has shone on this Vuelta, and finally he takes the stage victory.
It's about how much time Richard Carapaz can take. What is the gap going to be? He crosses it at 2:34. So Primož Roglic now has got 45 seconds to get there. Primož Roglic saves La Vuelta by around 19-20 seconds.
21%, it really is a hurt zone this. Nibali hits it once again. Now can he? Don't forget, he's just got to find 3 seconds here, 4 if he can. Away and Nibali goes once more in the cloud. Oh, it's almost reminiscent of his job on the Giro d'Italia. He had almost the camera, and has Nibali been taken out here as well?
No,
I don't think there was any contact with anybody. It's just gone pop. Here is Horner. What a performance by this man. As we say, 20 years separating the man who's won the stage and the man who quite possibly has just won the Vuelta. 200 metres. This is going to feel like party time. And the grimace turns into a huge grin. And the clock, watch it when he crosses the line, because this is the crucial timings. He gets the bonus as well, don't forget. There is Chris Horner. Has he just done it for the old guard?
Welcome, this is Tyler Yonke, Between Two Wheels podcast. We are going to do, look at this, intro image. Vuelta Stages 10 through 14. Did you miss me? I was busy. I had stuff to do, work, and then just other things. Hung out with some cycling buddies, the data-driven athlete guys, for a little bit. And here I am, back to the Vuelta. We've missed some vital things. One of the most exciting to me, the Angry Lou, the Angry Lou, the site of many exploits. And I showed a few there on the intro, which is Chris Horner winning, not winning the stage of the Angry Lou. There was Kenny Ellison was up the road by 5 minutes with a break. They caught everybody but him, but Chris Horner did seal that was stage 20 of the 2013 Vuelta. He did seal the deal on that one. We've had Roberto Heras, Spanish rider, rode for Lance's team, U.S. Postal Service for years. He won it in 2000 up this. I want to say Levi Leipheimer was close second or like third, or he did well. He put himself, I think, into third, and it might have been that Vuelta. Then there is, there's been a bunch of winners over this, stage. Wout, did Wout Poels win that over with Chris Froome, or maybe there was someone up the road still? We can take a look at the history of this, and I do have a tweet about that. The point is, 2023, how could I forget? Sepp Kuss's birthday, Primož, Jonas, Almeida was in there as well. Ayuso was in there. You had a bunch of Kian Utebrooks, but you had Sepp Kuss, you had Mikel Landa, and Roglic and Vingegaard drop Sepp Kuss right near the top. Landa comes there, takes some big poles, helps Sepp Kuss, and they go over the top. But they didn't have the record on that day. So that's the Vuelta. That's stage 13. We're not quite there yet. We're going to back up a bit, and we're going to talk about some of these other stages. Once again, let's see if we got it. Here's the Vuelta. That is, which stage? Well, those stage 10, I believe. Here's a profile for stage 10. But before we do that, maybe we should look and see who was leading after stage 9. After stage 9, remember we had Torsten Treon in there. Jonas was just down by 37 seconds. You had João Almeida. He was a minute 15 back. Pidcock in 4th place. Felix Gal, Giaconi was still a threat. Lorenzo Fortunato, Matteo Jorgensen, Jai Hindley, Riccatello down there in 13th, Sepp Kuss down there in 16th, and the youth jersey, Pellizzari over Riccatello by 27 seconds. And I think I told you then, I'm like, I think it's going to be Riccatello. And we've got Victor in here. By the way, I don't think my chat's working tonight. So, but Victor, hi, BTW podcast. Thanks for finding it. It would have been fine. It was supposed to go out to the YouTube, and then something wasn't doing it. I had to reset it, so the one that you probably got notifications for, it didn't go out there. But Victor, I appreciate you being in the chat. We're going to talk some bike racing. Hope you've been enjoying the Vuelta since the last time we spoke. So here we are. Remember, we started up in Italy. Then we came down here over into this north eastern portion of Spain, and we've been moving ourselves across. And we're about in the middle portion of Spain here, but still up on the north. And Bilbao. This is your Basque country, okay? That comes into it as far as look, Spain, the Basque people, they are quite the separatists, okay? They think that or at one point, they wanted to be separate from Spain. There was a lot of issues with that. Matter of fact, if you rode for a team like Euskaltel, you were only from the Basque country. You were not, they didn't take anybody but Basque riders because they considered those, special. There was some, issues with blowing up trains over the years, doing some suspect, quasi terrorist type of stuff. But anyway, that's kind of the nature of it over there. And, it's going to infiltrate, that mindset is going to infiltrate this race a little bit. They've always had protests. You saw this Tour de France this year. There's a famous picture of Bernard Hinault back in this, I want to say 78, where there was a workman's strike that crossed the road, and he's in full-fledged fist punching mode on some of these people. So anyway, we're cruising across the top here, hitting into these big mountains before we drop down in here into Madrid. And there you go. Okay, so there you go. Torsten Tran is going into stage there. But here is stage 10. Here's the profile. So we've got, stage 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, just some climbing. We're not going to have a sprinter's day. We're going to have some climbing days, and we're going to have some breakaways and whatnot. So this is stage. And by the way, remember, I talked a little bit about here. You had Jay Vine, you had Ayuso not doing work for Almeida, and Almeida's been looking fine up still till stage 9. Okay. So are these guys going to play a role? Marc Soler, he's another guy that's had issues in the past. There was a time when he was with Movistar. He's up the road, and they're like, no, you need to come back here and help. I think it was Nairo Quintana. And he's throwing his arms up, a big hissy fit, and he got called back to the team car. Is UAE going to do that? We've been told that UAE is a dictatorship. So anyway, I'm not going to go through these too much, but here is the stage 10. Let's get to a little bit. We'll just clip through some of these. Stage 10. We come into the highlights here with 53K to go. There's a break up the road. They have a minute 34. They're cruising up some of these climbs. There we go. And I'm trying to remember who was all on the break on this day. You had Lotto Rider. You had, I think, was it Castrillo in here? This is Sargent. You had Movistar in here with a few riders. Kevin Van Mark for Postal Picanel. He's made his way into the break. I think Shaw was up here as well for EF. And things get popping off here with, you also had Ayuso. And with Ayuso, you had another rider, which I believe was it Jay Vine as well? Or no, it was a Bjerg, perhaps. But anyway, he had a rider, or Soler. Maybe perhaps it was Soler. Meanwhile, this is going to be a GC day as well. Right? So Torsten Tron, he starts getting popped out the back. Vingegaard looks like he's going to be the yellow jersey wearer. The group starts getting narrowed down. Remember, Ayuso's up the front. He's not there to help. You had, but there's Almeida attacks, 6K to go. He spreads things out. Jay Vine is up the road with. So is Jay Vine. I don't think Ayuso was up there. Ayuso, he might have been up the road. A little confusing here. But Jay Vine goes up the road with the Movistar rider. He's in the break. Jay Vine, sorry to do another spoiler, but he gets the win on the day. Meanwhile, Visma Lisa Bike starts to spread things out. Almeida hits off at the front with 4+K to go. Jonas is able to stay on his wheel. Pidcock is up there with him. Jorgensen is up there a little bit ways behind. You've got Sepp Kuss. He's back there. Cicconi's starting to lose some distance. But as things happen with the front group here, it doesn't explode it enough, okay? Or there's still too much time. Jorgensen comes back to the fold. Jai Hindley makes his approach in there. Pidcock's there. And Jorgensen basically pulls this thing to the finish. Jay Vine gets another stage win. But look here. Let's go back. I'm going to keep complaining. Oops. Do you want it? No. I'm going to look back here because Jorgensen's on the front doing work for Jonas. Almeida has nobody. once again, he has nobody in there with him to do some work. They did some work early. He attacks. He has nobody to go up there. Meanwhile, Jay Vine's up the road. He could be, giving some help, but he's not because he's winning the KOM jersey. And a Castrillo, there you go, a Pablo Castrillo, who had won 2 stages a few years ago in the Vuelta, takes second place. Romo is up here, Javier Romo, along with Shaw for EF. And Jorgensen brings the main bunch home with Pidcock. There's Torsten Schroon. He comes in. He misses out a little bit. Doesn't really get much more than that. So here we go. Let's go to the results. Jay Vine, Pablo Castrillo, Javier Romo, 2-3 for Movistar. They haven't got their win yet. Archie Ryan, sorry, not Shaw, Tom Pidcock, Julia Chiccone's in there, Jai Hindley. Hindley's just slowly and surely making his way. Meanwhile, you have Riccatello back here, also with Pellizzari. Those two just need to be stuck together. The KOM after stage 10 is Jay Vine is doing pretty good there. The youth jersey, still 27 seconds. GC now goes to Jonas Vingegaard. He gets it by 26 seconds over Torsten Schroon and 38 over João Almeida. But you got Jorgensen here in the 7th. You have Riccatello here in 10th. Sepp Kuss here in 15th. So top 15, you still have good smattering of American riders. Okay, let's go to stage. So that's stage 10. Then we have stage 11. This is Bilbao to Bilbao. This one has a little bit of an ugliness to it. Okay, up there in Bilbao, that's really where you get your separatists going here. Now Victor says Lotto cycling team is sponsored from Spain's lottery. The U.S. lottery is $1.8 million tonight. I did not play it. I should. Is it too late to do that? I don't know. I did sign up to get win the Bentley with Bryson DeChambeau, so we'll see how that goes. He's extended that for another day. Race here with during the day. There's a protest, and the whole race has to stop. They get restarted. But they announced here at one point, oh, you know what we're going to do? You pop over the top of this climb, then it comes down to about 3 kilometers, or it comes down in about 3 kilometers to go. We're just going to take time. We're not going to have a winner on the day. So we've got an issue because at the end of the day, when you actually see the start-finish line, it's chaotic. The barriers are not holding the protesters. Now, I've talked about this before, and we could get into, perhaps we should at some point, the whole Israel-Gaza situation, how that's affecting the cycling. But you have this team, Israel Premier Tech, and people are upset about what's going on in Gaza, so they're taking it out on this team. Now, the problem is this team is not even sponsored by Israel, okay? Now, the owner is, I don't know if he's an Israeli, but he's a Jewish man, okay? And he has a lot of money, and he just wants to promote the state of Israel, so that's why they are on the jersey. So, you're like, okay, well, he's trying to, I guess, in many would call it sports washing, okay? But you also have UAE, you have Bahrain, you have Jaco Alula, the Alula, that's a Middle Eastern issue we got going over there. USA supplies money to Israel to bomb. I mean, so there's some connection. What do you do on these situations? I've said, look, the organizers need to make this place more safe. But as you are able to see, even just from this photo right here, it's just the side of the road. It's open, so you can't necessarily do that either. And now it looks like at least Israel Premier Tech said they're not going to have Israel on their jersey at this point. But that whole team's got some chaos, okay? It's got some problems going on with this situation. So I'm not sure exactly what we're going to be doing here about it. Mega Turbo Grug said, did you see the news of the SEAL team mission to infiltrate North Korea during Trump's first term? I did see about that. Yeesh. Why is this coming through on this one here? But anyway, we don't need to get into that too much. My point is that this is, it makes me sad because the riders, then there's some splits on how things are going here, which you can understand. A lot of these riders are just like, we just want to ride. But you know what? Israel Premier Tech infiltrated the sports. They wanted to have a good image, so they brought politics in, okay? So you don't just necessarily get to say, you can't. Now, there's a lot of sponsors, maybe it's Katusha that was selling rockets or some other things, right? So I get it, and it's just the nature of how cycling is, and it's what we've got to deal with. But anyway, this race goes on. Matt Pedersen's up the road. Mark Soler's up the road. The group, there's a decent climb, the second one to the finish. Almeida strikes out a little bit. Everyone seems to keep it together. Visma comes in there, and then they hit this final climb with a lot of Bass fans, and Tom Pidcock lights this thing up. There's a little bit of a distance between Almeida and, because Joe's a diesel, okay? Jonas can go after, riders like Pidcock. He has a little bit of trouble on the high end sprinting from a climber that, it's got this explosive. We've seen that with Tade, okay? Tade could put you in a deep world of hurt, so there's have some trouble there. But it's what it is. And Tom Pidcock is able to, and he does so in this case. He actually puts a little distance on Jonas. She hits him hard. Jonas hangs with him. Almeida gets dropped a little bit. And then Pidcock hits him again, and he puts a little bit of a distance. Jai Hindley's back there actually looking pretty good with, I think that might have been Pellizzari. But going over the top, Pidcock kicks one more time and creates some more distance to Jonas. Jonas actually does be able to get back to him. But here's a scene at the finish. You just can't have a finish there. They couldn't keep the people back on the barriers. It wasn't safe. And these two guys come down and they waved the time. So there was no winner, but they did take the time. So Jonas gets a bit of a time, difference over our boy Almeida. There you go. So Vingegaard, that's the GC, that's the stage. That's just everyone DNF, but they gave them 10 seconds. 4, 6, and 2. 6 went to Tom Pidcock. Technically, he kind of won the stage. But, Jonas is like, dude, my son's birthday is today, and I always win on my son's birthday, and you didn't let me do that. I'm like, okay, well, Sep's birthday is coming up. I'm sure you take a win from his column, as always. So there you go. You did actually stretch the lead to Almeida to 50 seconds there for our Jonas. Okay? There you go. Stage 11. Those are the results that we had. So let's take a look then. You got stage 12. Once again, 13 is the big one with the Angliru. It's a big climbing day, and so maybe you're not going to send your climbers for these two big teams because you're going to need them. Maybe you're not going to send them up in the break, right? You're going to hey, Almeida. Now, I don't think this is going to be a GC day, but we want to make sure you're protected. You're still coming in, doing pretty good. Unless you can send a satellite rider up there that you think that's a day that you would need that. I don't think you would. Okay, so here we go. Here is stage 12. We're coming in 100 plus kilometers to go. Oh, look at that. There's a little wreck going on in the race. Guys get cleaned up. Meanwhile, up the road, you've got the attacking taking place. 2 movie star riders. Romo, once again, I think Holzman, and along with Mark Soler and Ayuso. Interesting. The sprint in the middle of the race there goes to Mads Pedersen. He's doing pretty good with the green jersey. 39 plus kilometers to go. Shaw heads up the road. You've got some this big Cat 1 climb here. 4.3 kilometers to the left to the top. Mark Soler starts to just drill it on the front. He starts splitting everything up. And then you've got Soler and Ayuso taking off. There goes Ayuso up the road. Here you go. Tiberi goes with him, I believe, as well. There was an issue earlier with a dog tied onto a chair. They got pulled out, and someone was sitting on it and then got stood up, and then the chair gets pulled out in the road from the dog. But Ayuso's up the road with a lot of help from Mark Soler, and you're just like, well, tomorrow you have a real big day. You got the Angliru, right? Well, I hope you're not like blowing your legs out here, buddy, to not be effective teammate for Almeida, because so far you've had Jay Vine going up the road, blowing himself up, but he's doing a lot of work on the front there. He's got Mikael Bjerg. He's been doing some stuff. Domen Novak. But other than that, you really haven't seen any of the other big climbers at the end for UAE as you would need them. Are we going to see a change to that? Are we going to see Ayuso? Ayuso did a little bit of help the other day, but mostly he's been, kind of not really there. Well, so Romo and Ayuso head up the road. Now, at this point, 24.8 kilometers to go, the 1.9 kilometers to the top, Ayuso starts complaining about Romo not pulling through. And so Romo actually does pull through. I'm like, you haven't won a race yet this year. Maybe that's why Romo, but this is the kind of thing where people get bullied into it. And Romo then starts pulling to the top of the climb. He actually pulls them over this. I would just say, come on, no, you're Ayuso. You've already won a stage. You do the work. You got the big team. You do the work. I'm just going to sit on and not do a lick of work. Matter of fact, I've got a teammate back there. We'll just kind of wait and see what happens. You got burned by Jay Vine the other day, right? With two teammates coming in second and third. How about we just don't work with you guys, right? Let's do the right thing here for team. No, he does a ton of work. They're coming into the finish, and then Romo's like, hey, you do some work. And Ayuso's like, no. It's like he's doing the right thing of not taking pulls, I guess, at this point, forcing you to, because you will take pulls. So what's the point? Meanwhile, they come into the finish here. There's no way Romo has a chance. Ayuso kicks over the front here. They come into the last corner, and Ayuso's able to, look, Romo hits his bars. Ayuso's easy to post up. You couldn't get around him in that last bit. And then there's Marc Soler coming into the finish here for the rest of the bit. It's somewhat, I don't know about disappointing, but, I think you've got to, at some points, maybe race a little bit different. So there you go. Ayuso, Romo, Grupamas, Bruick, Roland comes in. Victor Campenarts, he was up in the break. Now, he's not the big climber, so it's fine for what he was doing. I don't really see a problem with that. Mads Pedersen, Nico Dens, there you go. So there's Hessman, 14th. Who knows? I mean, I guess maybe that's why you try for Movistar. Okay. Well, now look. We're cruising along. We got 2 stages left. Here is the 80th Volta Cabezón de la Sal to Langru. 2.7 kilometers. A little longer than what we've seen before. 2023, last time I think they rode it. I want to say it was maybe 160, 170 kilometers. 202, much longer, but you can see it's a bunch of flat. Then they hit this Alto de la Monscoada, and then the Alto de Cordel, 2 Cat 1s, and then they hit the HC. Brutal climb up the Angliru. There's the first 2 climbs. They're nothing to shake a stick at, but there you go. 12.4 kilometers at 9.8, but sections here in the middle. You can see it tips up first, 3-4 kilometers, then has a little respite, and then it's got this big section from kilometer 5 through 11. It pitches up here to the top, and then last, I don't know, about 800 meters or so, it's actually a fast downhill descent. We've seen this happen before. I'll have to take I think that I want to say the record was around 42 minutes from bottom to top, and that was stage 12. Let's go to stage 13. There we go. So stage 13, the Angliru. I'm just going to tell you, there was a breakaway that got going up there. We don't really care much of anything except for the 2 guys that are really up there, Bob Jungels for Ineos, and you had Nicholas Vinokurov, Alexander Vinokurov's son. Okay, they are the only. Mads is up there. He does some help. He had another Bahrain rider, but I mean, Tiberi. There you go, Tiberi, and that was with the chair. So let's go back here a tad bit. Let's see here. I do want to show you this. So I got the days wrong on the chair issue. Tiberi. There you go. There's the there's the dog. Look at this. He's pulling almost hits these riders. Almost, I don't know. Did he get hit by the motorbike? Perhaps. Not such a good situation. Going up and over this second to last climb. Tiberi's chasing these 2 down. They're actually working pretty good. And Tiberi does a little bit of a crash here. Let's take a look and see if we can see a replay on this one. Okay. So, there we go. Oh, a little too far. There we go. So here's Tiberi. Oh, goes down. They do have a show of this. He takes this left hand around this corner, and he takes it maybe, he's going in the middle of the road instead of going wide to cut the corner a little bit. He then goes out. He hits this brush here. Goes in this ditch, still trying to get that. And actually, you know what? Besides scraping the crap out of your knee, I think he actually came out of this fairly well. Tiberi goes. Now, you've got this final climb here. There's a little bit of a protest. These 2 riders do go through. Probably held them up by 10 to 20 seconds. Not much of that. And that was all the real protests we actually had to worry about. Meanwhile, the big riders hit the front of the climb. So, did Ayuso give any help? No. He dropped on the Cat 1 before Angliru. He gets dropped going up there, so he's no assistance. But UAE's putting the pressure on regardless. They're ready for this today. And you're like, okay, now I'll say this about a super steep climb like the Angliru. You're like, look, this is made for your short little climbers. Yeah, if the pace is on and off, it is made for them. But I've seen this over and over where a bigger rider or a rider that rides like a diesel does fine if they just keep their pace. And if their pace is at the front and is as strong as what you can do, then it's not going to be much of a difference. You can see this happening. So I don't remember Roberto Harris when he set the record in 2000, if his team set it from the bottom. But you really, if you're going to break this record, you're going to have to go basically balls out from the bottom. And you're not going to take any of this little respites and then, allow the pace shifting to go on. You even saw this last year from the bottom to the top. 2023 Visma actually did a good job of that. They switched off then with Jonas. You had Roglic doing a lot of work, just keeping it steady up to the top. And then they were trying to dump Sepp, Roglic, and Vinigo. And they did drop him. He still came in. Sepp did a great time, okay? But they were all off the actual best time of the day. Meanwhile, these two riders, Jungles and Vinokurov actually skips a pedal or a chain. Jungles gives them a nice little push. Good to go. 6.8 kilometers. They're still 47 seconds off of the main riders. Jay Vine finally peels off. And this is where you start to see some of the great riding that happens for UAE, which is Grossschartner. Felix Grossschartner comes to the front. He actually puts in a turn of pace that's pretty heroic. So they don't have Ayuso. He's not there. Jay Vine does a pretty good job from the bottom. Felix Grossschartner takes over and does some really good riding, starts to really break some things down. About 6 kilometers to go at the 6-point mark. That is when Almeida actually hits the front himself. 5.4 to go. Almeida is just drilling it. He catches Bob Jungles. Now you've got Almeida, Hindley, Sepp Kuss, and Bob Jungles is getting past. You've already dropped Riccatello, Pellizzari, Pidcock is gone, Matteo Jorgensen is gone, and you've got basically a group of 4 out here, which is looking fairly good, which is Sepp Kuss on the wheel of Jonas. Jonas is on with Jonas is on the wheel of Almeida, and then Hindley is hanging on there as well. They're all looking really good, but Almeida is just really putting on the pressure. 3 kilometers or so to go. You've already got Sepp Kuss and Hindley. They've been popped off the back. I want to say it was around 4 or so kilometers to go. Hindley just keeps on the pace. And they're actually, 30, 20 seconds. They get down to 40 or so seconds. Almeida never stays. He's on the front. Once again, from 6K to go to the finish or to the top, he's just putting the pressure on. Tom Pidcock is fighting, trying to get back up to Riccatello and Pellizzari. And I'm like, Pellizzari is still holding steady with Riccatello. They're not really dropping anybody. Jonas is just staying on the wheel of Almeida. He's not doing anything. He never hit the wind himself. They come over the top. Those two are still going. Jonas doesn't have a chance to get around him. And Almeida comes to the finish, gets the win, and the time bonus. So with all that to be said, it was about 30 seconds or so later, you actually had Sepp Kuss coming in here. 27 seconds for Hindley, and right about 30 seconds for Sepp Kuss, minus the time bonuses. That's where you're going to get. Felix Gall comes in, some big handshakes. Pellizzari drops Riccatello right at the finish to get the little bit extra bonus. So let's take a look here, because now what's super interesting for this one, it's kind of the breakdown, and I'll go through it here at the end, the times for this race. But you got Almeida, Vingegaard coming in 4:54.15, 28 seconds back is Jai Hindley, 30 seconds is Sepp Kuss, Gal at 52, Pellizzari 1:11. He puts a little bit of time on Pidcock and Riccatello, about 5 seconds on them. Ciccone has a decent time, comes in 9th place. Balderstone for Cajurel, he actually has a real good race there. Torsten Tron, not too bad, 4:09. Matteo Jorgensen, 4:32. This is where you're starting to Jay Vine et al. Kevin Vermark down here in 23rd place. So the GC, Jonas loses 4 seconds there to Zhao. Brings his time deficit under 50 seconds. Pidcock moves up or stays in 3rd place, but Jai Hindley does move himself up 4 places into 4th place, just 3 minutes out. But here's some interesting here. Riccatello with a good time moves up into 7th place. Sepp Kuss with the 4th place finish there. but really good time. He moves all the way up into 10th place, and Jorgensen's at 11th. He did drop down, but you got 3 Americans there in the top 11 places. Okay, let's take a look at stage 14. This was today. This was, was this going to be a GC day? Possibly. There's a good chance of doing a GC day on the day. So let's take a look here. But I was like, probably a breakaway is going to happen. But certainly after yesterday, you're not going to have, the Ayuso Solaire's up the road today, right? Oh, I guess you're going to get Mark Soler up the road. He goes up the road. He starts winning. Jay Vine's up there with him. I think Jay Vine was with it. Either way, Soler goes up the road. It's just, you're kind of like, what's the deal? UAE is on the front. Großschartner, Ayuso does work today. That's good. It's looking fine. Egan Bernal, he's got trouble. 37K to go. He's already getting dropped. Ayuso does some monster work there. Cicconi's having trouble. But they're chasing down Soler, and he's in a break up the front, and he's not sitting up necessarily. And, what's going to happen here? Well, in the last 16K, he just sets out. Now, the team says they didn't want him up there necessarily. And at some point when he sets out, you're kind of like too late to do anything about this, right? You can't tell him necessarily to come back. We've talked about him doing that in the Vuelta before when he was rode with Movistar. And he just takes off, and he's not going to be seen again. Now, back behind, though, the UAE team is on the front doing everything they can to try to bring him back. Jay Vine, Großschartner, they're doing everything. Pickering, however, he was up in the break with Kevin Vermark. He brings this thing under to Soler to under around a minute, but he eventually can't get up there to him. And back in the field, though, then you actually see Pellizzari doing work on the front for Jai Hindley. Pretty good stuff. It's like Kevin Vermark, they're catching him. He had been up in the break. But Jai Hindley, Pellizzari is going for the white jersey, and he's doing a lot of work there for Jai Hindley. Looks pretty good. Everybody had been basically spit out here. Sepp Kuss was able to hang on. Mateo was there. And then Jai Hindley attacks inside the last K. And with that, Almeida goes. Jonas goes. Soler gets the win, and they almost bring him back. Jai Hindley really kicks here at the finish, but Jonas does nip him at the line. Just a short little bit behind is Jai Hindley. So you get the win here for Mark Soler. And, kind of makes you wonder, what's going on? They get another win. And it's like, yeah, we saw this with stage 12. They go off the front. They just blow their legs out. And then nothing, they being Ayuso in that case, and then nothing on the day for the big day, which was, and which was the Angliru. Now you've got like, okay, Almeida's shown yesterday, and actually this whole race that he is there. I mean, you might have been actually able to, bring some of this time deficit, because what is here, still 48, so they lost a few seconds, 2 more seconds to Jonas today. Who knows if Soler's not up the front taking the 10 seconds bonus, maybe this finish changes itself and Almeida's able to take the win, or at least take some additional time bonuses over Jonas. Jonas did, and look, so we'll go back. I mean, so that's kind of your situation. Jonas is here, 48 seconds. Now Riccatello and Jorgensen and Sepp are all moved up in the top 10. That's looking pretty good there. 3 Americans in the top 10. Very, very solid. Not such a problem there. But I want to take a look at some of these. Let's see if I can find him here. There we go. So here's some climbing times of the Angliru, okay? So these are the first Haras in 6:51 he did. So that I was talking about, like, was this going fast? Yeah, he was going fast from the bottom. Roglic and Vingegaard, and it was Sepp actually at the time too. The first 2.8 kilometers did it in 7:22. The last 10 kilometers, Haras does it in 35:05. Roglic, Vingegaard do it in 35:07. So they really kind of match his pace there. 12.8 kilometers, 41. This is for the full thing. 2,000. That's a record. 41:56. And in 2023, it was 42:29 to Roglic and Vingegaard, and I think it was another 15-20 seconds back to Sepp Kuss there, who was also in the 42 range. So those were the times coming into the race. Now let me see if I actually get the times after the fact. 2023. I did take a clip of him here. Just hang on with me, folks. We'll get to it. Okay, I think these are the times here. So maybe you can't see it if I do it that way. Okay, so in 2005, this is the 18th. Oh, the cold day Finestre. What's going on here? Amity Padurali. We'll get to the times. Hang on, I thought I had them. La Ferrana. This guy does all the climbing times. Angliru. Okay, so there's the Angliru. He does a breakdown of their VAM. That's not what I'm looking for. Here we go. Here's the Angliru times. Okay, so Jimenez, who I raced against, 96, he ended up killing himself. He did win this on the top there in 1999. This isn't your full times though. This is just the last 10 kilometers. I want the full time. There we go. There we go. 99 to okay. So Roberto Haras had done 41.56. Jao Almeida goes 41.57. I thought they had got the record. So evidently they did not. He must have updated this because evidently they did not get the record. Sepp Kuss puts in so these are the top 10 times ever on this thing. Roberto Haras, 1 second better than Jao and Vingegaard. Jai Hindley comes in at the top 4th time here at 42.25. Sepp Kuss at 42.27. Roglic, this from the 2023, is at 42.29 with Vingegaard. Sepp Kuss at 42.48. Landa. So Sepp Kuss is put in. He just got a PR. Okay. You go down here. Horner at 43. Pellizzati, Riccatello 43s. Look, those are really solid. You know, this is the top 50 times. Levi Leipheimer back here at 44.18. Sepp Kuss is put in a 44.02. That was riding for support for Roglic. He had to do a lot of towing for him that day. So what I want to say here is, if people are going, look, we're not necessarily getting the Jonas didn't have the legs today. It's like, well, I mean, Jao Almeida just put up a time that's 1 second off of the best time ever, okay? And Jonas, ties him for that. Otherwise, Jonas had put in a 42.29 here before, really going for it with Roglic. I mean, that puts 30 seconds to the better on I don't know what you want him to be doing here. Jao Almeida put up an amazing time, and this was exactly how we needed to ride it. You don't get much draft at this pace. So I don't know that Jonas is like, oh, he had it. This is what I was listening to Escape Collective with Dane Cash and Cosmo Catalano, and they're like, oh, maybe he didn't have as good a day. And I'm like, he literally, the time is almost setting the record here, okay? That's ridiculous. He doesn't have it's not a bad day. I mean, Roberto Haras time, 41.56 from 2000, I mean, fueled in a different way there. But I mean, Vingegaard was flying in 2023 with a 42.29. Sepp Kuss goes inside that with a 42.27, 2 seconds better. He would have dropped those two guys at the time. He would have stayed with them. So Sepp Kuss, so looked like he was suffering with Jai Hindley, puts a time in that's just as good as everyone else here. I didn't realize now that Sepp set a new PB on Angliru, improving by 21 seconds. 2 years ago, Sepp met Angliru while wearing red. Jai Hindley kindly offered to help him, just like Mikel Landa. Yeah, exactly. So I think we have a showdown in place here, and I think it's it's going to be an interesting last few stages to go here. You've got the KOM jersey that's in jeopardy. Jay Bison does a lot of work, a lot of stage wins. They've won 7 stages, I think now, UAE. The youth jersey, Riccatello down 32 seconds. I mean, Giulio Pellizzari, he's got work to do for Jai Hindley that may, be detrimental for his chances at the white jersey, as we saw today. But even today, he did a ton of work and good work, and still was able to hang on and come across the line with Riccatello. And, I don't know what you're going to do about that. Team UAE is killing it as you would expect them to. Okay, so tomorrow, Sunday, stage 15. I mean, this is a Mads Pedersen style day, Cat 1, Cat 2, and then a sprint, and then down here. Maybe, I think it's made for him. He's been getting up and over these climbs fairly well. Then you have Monday, a day off. And then you got Tuesday, another big day in the mountains. Tuesday, Wednesday, another day in the mountains. Thursday, individual time trial, pan flat. That'll be interesting. Thursday, sprinters. Oh, wait, that was Friday. And then Saturday, last chance, the Navacerrada going up there. That will be an interesting one. Ends on an HC. That's your chance, folks, because stage 21 is just into Madrid. That's going to be a no-brainer. Sprint day, if you can get it. There you go. That's the end. Took care of a bunch of stages. Try to do another one tomorrow. Thanks for coming in there, Victor. Appreciate you hanging out. Share the show, hit the likes, all the subscribe stuff. Look, people, you're like, UAE, they're winning it. Why are you, because they have a João Almeida who could win this thing overall, and they're riding like, they're lucky. They're lucky Grossschartner brought his big boy legs for the Angliru. That's all I'm saying there. We will see you next time. Bye.